thousands of people displaced from their homes, and
these are intentional fires.
Intentional arson.
Yeah.
It's not to name names or point fingers, but it's big business trying to burn them out because the land is good. It's right by the bay, so it's coveted from a business standpoint, economic standpoint, and they're just trying to get them out. And one way to do it is to light a fire, Molotov cocktails. I mean, that's, who thinks that's even happening in this day and age, but it's happening right now.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Crystal Clear Business Podcast. My name is Crystal Prevette, and today we have a special guest with us today, Mark Gleason from G2 Business Solutions. Thanks for joining us today, Mark.
Well, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
The pleasure is all mine, I promise, my friend.
Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name is Mark Gleason. I'm the CEO of G2 Business Solutions. We do payroll and credit card processing for small business. We opened our doors 2014, so going on our 11th year.
Woo.
And really our whole focus is on making things simple for our clients through dedicated support, simple communication, relationships, and utilizing some of the bigger companies out there to use their technologies to take advantage of the what they have to offer. But all about making it easy for our clients.
So you're the middleman that we actually want.
Correct. Yes.
Sometimes the middleman is upgrading, or you're charging more for being the middleman. You're actually making life simpler by being the middleman.
Correct. Making it simpler and actually cheaper through some of the negotiations I've been able to have. We are able to save our clients money in most cases, so they compared to their current services.
They get the benefit of having the big name, but also the benefit of having a smaller customer service, so you actually can call the person that you're trying to communicate with.
No 800 numbers, no call center. It's just a direct line to people that care about your business, who want you to succeed, because their success is my success. So it's self-serving to be responsive to what people need. It seems pretty simple, really.
We've all been on those holds where you're wanting to get a hold of someone and you're just listening to that music that's number one, so annoying. It's usually played a little louder than you want it to be, and by the time you get a person, it's and then they transfer you and you transfer you. It's
never happens.
That's great to be able to cut that out of it, because business owners have enough stuff to be doing sitting on the phone trying to contact their payroll processor.
It doesn't make them any money.
No.
It's not a revenue generating activity sitting on hold, that's for sure.
And I love that you also cater to businesses of all sizes.
Correct. Really our sweet spot's probably 1 to 100 employees. So, it's considered the small business market. But it doesn't matter from one employee, S corp, owner operator, to having 100 employees. We're there to help.
So if you have one employee, how do you help that individual? Because they're paying themselves, or you just helping?
Correct. I mean, depending on how you're set up, your legal standing as a corporation, you have to follow the same rules as if you had 100 employees. So it's all about keeping you in the clear and out of the scope of the IRS and the state, keeping you compliant on all levels when it comes to the taxes. So.
Well, you know me, I love clarity. Definitely want to avoid any issues with the taxes and stuff. That's definitely can get a little tricky as a business owner if you get behind on some of that stuff. So
that can be the kiss of death for a lot of small business. You get once you get behind or in trouble, some businesses don't bounce back from that. So setting up that foundation early and making sure that you're just focusing on what you're good at is really an important factor in success for a business.
Yeah, I believe it was something like 20% of businesses don't make it past the first year at least. It could be more, but
possibly more. I'm not sure exactly what that figure is, but it's tough. It's not easy.
I know it's around 50% for year 5. If you can make it past 5 years, you're doing pretty good for yourself.
You've done something right.
You've been around 11 years, so that shows that you've got some sustainability there.
Hopefully, we'll be around for another 11. God willing, right?
Yeah. Well, God willing, for a lot of reasons.
Yeah, exactly.
I know for yourself and your family. I know
correct.
you're part of my B&I community.
Correct.
So we love to support that group. But you're also doing great things out in the world, which I wanted to talk about a little bit, because
Sure.
I know that you're so passionate about this new project that you've really taken some charge of. So would you tell the audience a little bit about some of your philanthropic endeavors?
Yeah, I mean, it all started with my business. Outside of doing payroll, we have a giveback program. So we donate 10% of our base payroll processing fee to charity. So every time somebody processes payroll, you're feeding some people, which is a great, great perk.
Yeah.
But through that, my support of Project Pearls is the name of the nonprofit. They're a California 501c3, but their mission is to help feed, educate, and healthcare programs for people living in extreme poverty in the Philippines. Mm-hmm. Their mission is incredible. People are incredible that are part of that group. Been very what's the word I'm looking for? It's
like rewarding.
Yeah, rewarding. It's really made me want to be a better person. Mm-hmm. Inspired me. It's been inspirational. Is the word I was looking for. And recently, because I've been supporting them financially as well, I go to the Philippines a couple times a year and take part in their feeding programs. Because of the passion, the founder reached out and tapped me on the shoulder and said, you want to become part of the board. So that's what you're speaking of. The recent changes is that I've now taken on a board membership with Project Pearls, and am focusing some of my business acumen and my just drive to better serve their cause, and to ultimately just give them a bigger reach and help them achieve more, which in the space of nonprofit, something like that, achieving more success is helping more people. So.
And I've noticed this shift in you, and I know there's a couple reasons why you're working with Project Pearls. I want to get into that, but I also want to talk a little bit about like other entrepreneurs, because I've noticed since you've kind of re-engaged in BNI, since you've kind of re-engaged in your business, I've seen this like kind of uptick within you, where there's like more passion and purpose, because you have this nonprofit that is really fueling you at a heart-centered level. And I see that actually helping, because you're giving back. It's like givers gain. My BNI philosophy. I see like this energy like shifting in you, and I know there's a reason why you started Project Pro. So you want to dive into any of those?
Sure. I mean, do you want me to get to the ugly story? Is that where I got?
I mean,
I originally got involved with Project Pearls because of some trauma in my life. I lost my brother a couple of years back to some issues, mental illness, a little bit, but that tied into him stopped eating, and he died because of food insecurity, we'll say. Stopped eating and no longer is here. So when I was unraveling the layers to what happened to him, that made me realize, okay, went down the rabbit hole of looking up some things of what it's like to starve and what it's like to be starving, and it's an awful, painful thing. Nobody should suffer like that, and that's what really lit a fire in me to want to find a nonprofit that focuses on food insecurity and helping people that just don't have opportunities. So that led me to Project Pearls. Project Pearls, one of their main focuses is to feed children and the elderly in an area called Tondo. Tondo is in the outskirts of Manila, and it's a garbage dump. It's a whole town that's built on garbage.
Literal garbage.
Literal garbage. The trucks pull up from all over Manila. They go there, and they drop off their bags and drop off the garbage. And it's the people come out and they grab a bag or grab stuff, and whatever they can salvage and or repurpose out of the garbage is how their existence is how they keep themselves going.
So they have like this assembly line almost of like someone's dumping the trash off, and then these people are trying to go in and repurpose the trash. That's how they survive.
100%. That's their livelihood. They live in the garbage dump. They work there. It's their existence.
As Americans, it's really hard to imagine this.
It's, I mean, really eye-opening. I've seen some bad areas in my life, and this is a whole new level of, and when I say bad, it's not because of the people or the crime. It's actually a really safe place. It's because of just the extreme nature of their existence. It's hard to comprehend when you're there. The heat, Manila, Philippines is a warm place. It's a tropical climate. The humidity, the smells, it's just all of it together is just completely eye-opening. That wow, people are living like this. But and even I think we've talked about this before, even down to the food, something called pagpag, which is they're taking garbage, chicken bones, pork bones, anything that's got a little bit of meat on it, and they out of the garbage and they boil it until it's not poison.
Yeah.
And that's what they're eating for the most part. So it's really a testament to resilience, perseverance. But what is even more inspiring with the people of Tondo is their happiness. They're the happiest, nicest, most welcoming people. And yet they're every day to day, every minute of their lives is just surrounded by this extreme conditions that are, it's crazy, absolutely crazy. So it's been inspirational to me, and that's really where I think my passion started to really blossom, is being there, seeing it, and understanding firsthand what these people are dealing with. There's no social services, there's no government handouts, there's nobody there helping them. And that in turn is where I became so passionate about Project Pearls, and that's why Melissa, the founder, saw that coming out of me and wanted me to be part of the board. But then that also is, as you mentioned, and thank you for noticing that there's been a shift in my mindset, because there has, and it's all based on the fact that my big drive now is Project Pearls and helping them achieve their goals. And I really see that my business is a conduit to that. It's a means to be able to support them. So thank you to all my clients that are out there, anybody that uses me, because it's because of them that I'm able to do what I do and be able to give back.
Yeah.
And as well, I really am kind of going into something else you were talking about, an advocate now for small business of any size, to develop a philanthropic giveback program to their business. There's just so much to it that is valuable, that it
find something greater than ourselves to drive us for that purpose. I have my veterans mental health that I do advocating for, and sometimes when I'm in a moment where I don't want to do something, I remind myself this isn't for me, it's for them, and then that will drive me to complete something or do something that kind of gives you that extra push. So and I'd like to encourage the viewers, like, if you've never even stepped into any of these serving roles, I can guarantee you most of these nonprofits are always looking for people to step up.
100%.
And like I heard, they asked what your talents were and what you could give back. And I love that question, because we do all have different talents. And if you step into some organization, I mean, there's Big Sisters and Big Brothers.
Sure.
There's so many like local charities. There's so many global charities. I love that you picked this charity though for yourself for two reasons. You took that pain of your brother and turned it into helping all of these people. There's gonna be, I'm sure, thousands of people by the time this is done, maybe even hundreds of thousands of people that will have been fed in his honor. But also you're living it too. Your son goes to school there in Thailand, and your family or the Philippines, and Philippines, and your wife is from there. So
Correct.
You are also taking kind of this, like, something that was painful and turning it into power, but also doing it to serve a community that is part of your family.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, definitely. I do have that tie in there, and that was, with my family. That was one of the reasons why I chose the Philippines. But also, for me being a small business, just the impact, the reach that I'm able to experience and have with my give back program is much greater out there than it is here. My money goes a lot further. I can do a lot more good and serve a lot more people with the small amount that my small business provides them. So it was another factor in that. But thank you for noticing that. And
yeah, well, we can't do that much. It seems like we can't do that much for $1 a day out here, but for $1 a day, you can feed a child in the Philippines.
$1 feeds a child, or an elderly person, people that are that can't provide for themselves, and they also, feeding is not all they do. They have educational programs, and that's really been inspiring too. You can sponsor a child from pre-K through college, and when you're at the center there, Project Payroll in Tondo, they have pictures on the walls of some of the success stories of little kids working in the coal factories, which is what
they were.
Factory is a loose term. It's basically, that's one of the things they repurpose, is take wood and turn it into coal. But they're kids that are full of coal, dirt, and shoeless in the streets of Tondo, and now have their cap and gown on with their doctorate or master's degree, or lawyers, accountants, doctors. They're making a difference, and that is huge too, because out there, it's breaking the cycle. Generations of their family that's just been stuck in that position, no way out, no education, no handouts, no help.
You even said that they would maim some of the children so they could get more handouts.
Well, I don't know about that so much.
I
think it was somebody else.
Yeah.
I don't see that necessarily happening so much out there. I've seen that in other countries though, but in the Philippines, I think they have too much love. But that's good. There's definitely some ugly things going on out there. There's this year, we were talking about this before. They've just recently, a couple weeks ago, had their 4th major fire in Tondo. Thousands of people displaced from their homes, and
these are intentional fires.
Intentional arson. Yeah. And it's not to name names or point fingers, but it's big business trying to burn them out because the land is good. It's right by the bay, so it's coveted from a business standpoint, economic standpoint, and they're just trying to get them out. And one way to do it is to light a fire, Molotov cocktails. I mean, who thinks that's even happening in this day and age? But it's happening right now, and that's the 4th one this year. This last one, thousands of people displaced. So, how many people this year have lost their homes and everything they have, the little that they have, due to the corporate greed? And that's wrong. So that also gives me the little bit of, puts a little fight in me, wanting to advocate for these people, because the cards are already stacked against them. And it's even more so. It just keeps on getting worse and worse and worse. So if anybody could use some help, the people of Tondo definitely are some, in my mind.
Yeah. It reminds me of that starfish story where the beach is covered with starfish, and they're, obviously supposed to be in the water. And there were 2 people there standing there. One was throwing the starfish back into the water, and the other person said, "What are you doing? You're never going to be able to save all of these starfish. There's just too many." Yeah. And as they threw the starfish in, they said, "I saved that one."
Nice.
So sometimes we can save one starfish, and at least that one starfish will get the benefit. We might not be able to save the whole world.
You do what you can.
But we do what we can, and it sounds like you have a bigger impact there, because the dollar goes a little further, and there's no one advocating as much for these people. So by having an American come in, I know it seems like, we have more power than we realize, and if we're able to help the powerless, then I can see how that would be helpful to other entrepreneurs to have that fire within them, that light, that's driving them.
And that definitely, with that kind of mentality in mind, if we all picked up a starfish and threw one in, well, then maybe we could save them all.
Yeah.
So that's where I really, am spending a portion of my time talking to small business owners, not about G2, not about payroll, not about credit card processing, but about what can you do? And a lot of times you'll get the response of, well, I don't have much to give. And my response to that is, well, then just give a little. I said, even if it's $1, if we all gave $1, then at the end of the day, as a collective, we could really be a vehicle for change and for hope for some people in need. So as an advocate, start small. At the end of the day, it doesn't. You're not going to change the world single-handedly, but you think of it as a collective. And if you're doing it, and then going out into the world and so to speak, preaching to others about look what you can do, then maybe you can get other people involved. And I've gotten some small businesses that weren't doing any sort of give back program, corporate philanthropy, that are now on board, and that are doing that. So
I know our BNI Escondido chapter is trying to rally behind you. We see what you're doing. We're
Crystal
trying to support
Stoltler has put one in place with her property management services, where she's donating a portion of every time she gets the rental fees, she's giving now to Project Pearls.
That's so great.
So, and it's it's just growing from there. I have several businesses outside of our BNI network that I've advocated to, and they're taking the call as well and standing up and helping.
And how does that feel?
It feels great, but it also makes me want to do more. I wish there was more, like 30 hours in a day, perhaps. So that way I could have more time to do more and and get and really make a difference. But it feels good. It definitely has helped heal me in a lot of ways. But also, as you mentioned, it's given me more purpose within my business. It's yes, I'm for profit, and yes, I want to make more money, but in the end of the day, when I bring on a new client, the first thing I think of is how many people is that going to feed this year? And the math is pretty simple. So I'm able to put it every new client to how many little faces that I've seen and hugged and held hands with there in the Philippines, how many of those kids it's going to feed and what difference that'll make to them in the long run, giving them hope, letting them know that people do care.
Yeah.
And that is inspiring for them to be able to try and break that cycle. And because a lot of it's mentality, they're broken in a lot of respects because I think nobody cares. So, bringing that hope to them is step one, and them being able to have any chance of elevating themselves outside of those circumstances in the big picture.
It reminds me of the saying, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Yeah, I can see that now. It's definitely it's changed me. I'm a better person for giving a little, in so many ways. So,
and it's a win-win. They get better customer service. They get lower rates. They get their everything they were looking for, plus easier use. And then they get to know that they're giving back to a charity that actually is going to where they say it's going to go to.
Yeah. Some
of these charities are so big, you just never know.
Correct.
But I love that I can see photos of you with these children, and I can see your passion. And I know you have a big event coming up where you're going to be a part of raising some more money for this. So
correct.
If there are any viewers that are watching this podcast that are interested in learning more about Project Pearl, if you have some money to donate that could be a contribution to this wonderful cause, please reach out to Mark. He's going to give you his contact information here at the end. And I really highly recommend reaching out to him. This is a incredible charity, and I love to see you giving back as an entrepreneur. And I love what you're saying. You're for profit, but you're also for giving back.
Yeah.
And people can do both.
You can, even as a small business. I mean, I'd met many years with my business in the beginning without any sort of give back. And when I first started, it was a pay cut because it's I give a percentage of my processing fee. So all those years of building those clients, okay, now all of a sudden I'm giving money off of that. But in turn, it's there is a flip side to it outside of just it fill your heart. You're doing something what really everybody should do something good. It helps you grow your business in several different ways. One, as you mentioned, it gives you a motivational factor that you normally don't have. So those days where I'm feeling a little tired or a little lazy and I want to cut out a little early, all you got to do is think of if I just make a couple more calls or do a couple more things, action items, things that can help. What can it do? So it gives you that motivation to work a little bit harder, but then as well, from my perspective, it gives you something else to talk about when you're presenting your business. So it's all about relationships, and it's great conversation. People want to learn about these things, which is beneficial for you as you're growing your business because they see you have a heart. It attracts then like-minded people, so the clients that you bring on have that same type of mentality, and so you get a better client base. And at the end of the day, it just helps you, it really helps you make more money by separating yourself from the herd out there of all the other payroll companies. Here's a reason to choose G2 is that, look, your money's going to do more. You're taking just a business expense that with all the other companies out there is an expense that goes to corporate greed in some cases. Not every company out there is greedy, but
sometimes when they're so big, you just don't know.
I mean, some of the larger companies, yes, the high level executives are making obscene amounts of money, and that's going to buying their next yacht or their next fancy exotic sports car, or you can use a small business, support a small business like G2 or any small business, which has direct impact on a family and on real people that aren't looking at yachts, and at the same time know that it's also going to be feeding people too. So by creating a scenario where you're able to, in my case, I wanted to make it a win-win-win for the client. Anybody that comes on board, you're going to get dedicated support, people that care about you, people that want you to succeed and are going to help you and not just be an 800 number call center that wants you off the phone, but at the same time lower costs by the way we've put our pricing matrix together. And like I said, most times I can save people money compared to the large companies, and have a portion of that fee then still do something more, and in the form of donation to a nonprofit, people in need. So
there's also a component of that ripple effect that I don't think you have maybe understood. So you noticed that I saw a change in you. I was able to kind of identify that, and I know where some of that change came from. But I think one of the other components is, like you said earlier, ending generational stuff and having your children see you take this pain of something that hurt you drastically. It was obviously very painful to lose your brother, and I saw it. It was very painful to see you as a friend
still today
go through that. But your children saw that pain, and they saw what you have made of this. You're gonna make me cry because
we cry together here.
They've seen this journey that you're on, and now I think it's so inspiring for Brendan to be able to see that you took this and have now put your boots on the ground. You're now taking action to make sure that other people's families benefit from something painful that you went through. And that's the heart of what I do. I mean, I love helping people who've gone through painful experiences and taking it and turning it into power. So is there anything you could speak about that to the audience, about that transformation?
Well, I mean, like you said, it broke me, this whole experience. He's only one brother. He's my older brother, so growing up, he was my idol. It's a little brother looks up to big brother. So when he passed, obviously you go through the initial grief of what's going on, and unfortunately, him and I had grown a little bit apart in our adult ages. So, my first thing was just trying to figure out what happened. How did he go? And in unlayering or unraveling the mystery through, just basically cleaning out his house. It taught me, that how he had went. So with that, at first it was just, the first Project Pearls feeding that we sponsored was really just in his honor. It wasn't even really a G2. It was just I did a fundraiser, family and friends. Let's feed some people in honor of Michael. But then seeing that, and the beautiful thing about Project Pearls is that even if you're not there in person, which I'm blessed enough to be able to go to these feedings and take part in them and actually serve the food and prepare it, but if you're not able to do that, and you're here on stateside, they'll take pictures, and they'll of that day of your the food that's prepared because of your generous donation,
the difference you made.
So being able to see the pictures of these kids was just that made me really wow. These little kids are just so cute. You just want to, and having my wife being Filipino, having my kids, I have 2 children, Brendan and Brooklyn. They're half me, half Filipino. Seeing these kids, though, I was seeing my children's faces in them, and that then made me realize, okay, well, I need to get more involved with this and bring G2 into it as a business model. Prior to that, I was using or supporting a larger big box charity here in the States as a giveback program, but it was a business transaction. Yeah. I'd cut a check, and then I'd see it would clear on my bank account, and that was basically it. There was no connection to the end result of what I'm doing, what I'm donating, and what is it doing for them. So this brought all those pieces together, but it was in that I started to heal, and started to feel a little bit better just about life, I guess. Brought some more hope back to me, and the more I got involved, the more I get involved, the more I'm healing, and the more I'm able to look at my brother's situation now as maybe this is what it was for. There's always something good that's got to come out of the bad, right? Otherwise it's going to break you, and this is it. So I do on a regular basis. I think about him, and I hope I'm making him proud, and I know I am. At the end of the day, he would have loved this. He would have loved being part in this.
Well, he is.
And he is. In a weird sense. Yeah. I mean, not in a weird sense, in a greater sense, but I mean, like in a physical sense. This would have been right up his alley. And I just know that I'm turning lemons into lemonade, I guess, and just trying to heal and make something good out of just awful. Yeah. Just the ugly side of life.
And just to add a little, take a little lemonade for our audience. If you have a family member that you haven't checked in on for a while,
do it.
Maybe this is a great opportunity. If you know someone that has a family member that they might need to check in on, maybe share this episode with them. This is how we grow our podcast, but also how we serve our community. This could be a message that someone needs to hear today. So thank you for your vulnerability, Mark.
Thank you for that ad. That is something with mental illness. People that are suffering depression, it seems like in our society it just gets all swept under the mat. Nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody wants to, and that's one of the reasons why I speak about it. And thank you for bringing that up, because it's a very important part. Definitely take it from somebody who knows. Reach out to those people that are hurting. Don't wait. All they need,
you may not know they're hurting.
A hug can go a long ways. And I wish I would have done more of that.
And I kind of think it plays into really well as a business owner. I'd like to ask a question like, how important do you think mental health is in being in a business owner and just an individual?
I mean, it definitely transcends out of just business ownership. I mean, mental illness, depression is a big issue for many people. And as a business owner, I mean, obviously there's a lot of things that we deal with that can lead to that. Maybe you're not as successful as you want to be, or you think you should be, and that can just lead you down a rabbit hole of dark thoughts.
Society standards are so high that even the teenagers have a lot of pressure.
It's social media, it doesn't help. There's just a lot of ugliness in the world that social media promotes.
Yeah.
Because it's faceless and nameless, so people can be a little bit, and not a little bit, but a lot harsher than they would be if if we were back in a society that was more face to face. But definitely mental illness is a problem, and it affects everybody. People, I've lost, outside of my brother, several friends over the years, and weirdly enough, it's always been the people that shine so bright in life, the ones you would least expect it from, are the ones that now here, I'm 50 now, being a 50-year-old man, an adult, haven't seen some years. Those are the ones that ended up ultimately suffering the most, and it's in their younger years, and their teens, 20s, 30s, whatever. These are the people that I've always looked up to and admired how big and bright they shined, and so it's everybody is subject to it.
So take time to invest in your mental health. Don't let it get to a point where it's so bad, because it can be a lot of pressure shining that bright.
Sure.
Consistently. So taking time to invest in yourself, take time to read, meditate. If you need support, that's where I come in. If anyone's interested in mental health support, if you do have anxiety or depression, I know I tend to like to highlight my guests, but I think this should be said, that if you're struggling, don't be afraid to ask for help. That's what people like myself are here for. There's lots of people. It's not one size fits all as far as mental health therapy goes, but I know that there are people out there yearning to serve, so find someone that you resonate with.
And might I say, I did use Crystal with her mindset therapy when I was dealing in the thick of it, and I was like I said, broken, and it was helpful. It was very impactful for me, and so with that said, if it's an easy kind of outside the box way, not a traditional therapist kind of scenario. In fact, it was a little bit not questioning it when I first went into it, because it is so outside the box. But if you are suffering and or having these thoughts of whatever, just some dark thoughts, or not firing as bright as you think you should be, reach out to Crystal, and it's an inexpensive and impactful way to kind of get things back in a little bit of an order. It definitely, I saw almost immediate results, and then the first thing I got out of it was I slept through the night. That first night after the one session with you, I slept like a baby. And prior to that, I had gone through several months of maybe getting 2 or 3 hours of sleep. I'd then roll over, my eyes would open up, my brain would turn on, and I would then spend the rest of the night basically pacing my house. And, kind of going down the road of mental illness myself, where I could see I need to fix something here, because if this continues to fester, this is not right. This is not good. I'm in an ugly place. So I'm an advocate for what you do, and definitely urge anybody to reach out to Crystal who's watching, and it doesn't even have to be mental illness. Just if you want to
tune up.
Tune up. It can be even lighter. You
Yeah.
just want to refocus yourself. I could see the value in it. So.
Yeah, I'm really proud of you, Mark. You've made huge strides.
Thank you.
I love it. And I would love for our audience to connect with you. I'd love for them to learn more about G2, but even more importantly, learn more about Project Pearls. So how can they connect with you?
Pretty simply, I am very accessible. Email mark at g2 businesssolutions.com. You can go to our website. There's G2 business, or G2-businesssolutions.com. There's a contact field in there. You can reach out to me directly on my cell. Like I said, no 800 numbers with G2, and that's 760 area code 504 3414. Reach out. I'd love to talk to you about Project Pearls, or if you just want to go directly to them, you don't want to talk to me, that's fine. You have www.projectpearls.org. You can go to their website. You can find Project Pearls on Facebook, and from there you can find links to donate to them directly, see what they're doing. But in the big picture, if you want to talk about it, if you own a business, you have employees, give me a call. Let's talk about your payroll, because I want to feed more people, or if you are interested in corporate philanthropy. For me, it was a little bit daunting at first. I didn't know how I could fit in or where. Give me a call. Let's talk. And I'll just kind of give you some feedback and just tell you what my journey was in regards to that, and how you can fit yourself into something like that. Because as we said before, if we all picked up a starfish and threw it back, we would have
make a huge impact.
We'd have a beach with no starfish on it.
Yeah,
so,
I love it. So find ways to connect in your community. Share this episode, yes, and reach out to Project Pearl. And Mark, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure as always to chat with you.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be your friend. Thank you so
Likewise.
much.
Awesome.
And thanks for tuning in. We'll see you in the next episode.